Hello, it's lovely to connect with you today. My name's Leanne Peters. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I am here to pull some cards and share some guidance for this week ahead. That's this week starting Monday the 1st of March through to Sunday the 7th of March. So we're already skipped over into a new month, and I trust your journey into March has been good. You may still be in February, so we'll see you in March shortly, no doubt. So before I start, I want to send out an extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light family, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. So if you're new to watching, welcome. Please let us know if you are new in the comments. Not that I'm seeing any comments. They seem to not show up for me for a few minutes. So comment away. I'm sure they'll show up eventually. But welcome if you are new. What I'm going to be doing is using my combined Speed of Light Oracle cards with my Animal Kingdom Oracle. And I'll be using this deck, which is 110 cards, to find the best cards for this week ahead. I'm laying the cards out intuitively, so I lay them out here on my table, and I will share what I'm feeling from the cards and the direction that I feel that we're heading this week. So as always, please just think of this as a guide only. Just take on board what feels right, what resonates, and what fits into your life easily at this time. If you're sitting there thinking, wow, she's talking just to me right now, then you can listen to that, pay attention to it, and I get feedback like that all the time, so it's not uncommon to feel things like that. So I trust you've been led here for a reason. So what that reason is, we'll find out as we go. You should find out for you, I'll find out for me, the person next to you will find out for them, hopefully. So it's not going to be the same reason for us all. So I'm going to start shuffling the cards. Let's recap a little bit on last week. So the last 2 weeks, we've had the same theme card, which is the lizard. And the lizard reminded us to look deeper under the surface, that things weren't as they appeared to be. So last week, because the lizard is a featured card, last week's extra card was the peacock. And the peacock reminded us about increasing self-confidence. And this is especially increasing our self-confidence to look deeper at situations in our life, and especially things that have been presented to us, things that occurred that may not have been what we wanted to happen or wanted to occur last week. So we've had to look at those things from a very brave and courageous perspective, and in turn, really, there is this underlying ability for us to increase our confidence, our sense of personal power, our inner strength, to keep going, to find solutions, to turn challenges into opportunities. So that's sort of the energy theme for last week. I don't know how that played out for you, but this week we're now focusing on a new week and a new month. I'm coming to you live now from Tasmania, Australia, where it is Monday the 1st of March here at exactly 10:29 a.m. I'm still not seeing comments, so it's just a Facebook glitch. It's not like that's uncommon. So let's just pull some cards. I trust I'm coming through loud and clear. So I'm shuffling the cards, and I'm holding the intention that I want to find the best cards for the majority of us this week, for this week ahead from the 1st to the 7th of March 2021. I'm not pulling cards for individuals, so this is for us all collectively. So the best cards for this week ahead, and I'm just looking to see in my mind's eye how I want to lay the cards out. And it's in a lowercase h, or H, or however you pronounce it in your area. Let me turn my chair around. So we've got going down the spine of the letter H, and then around into the arch. So we've got 4 H cards out, and I'm going to turn them over now. So, oh yes, another dragon to start the week. We have the water dragon. Okay, cool. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, let's see. And for the third week in a row, but not as a featured card this time, we have the Lizard. So the Lizard has further instructions here because it's a featured card. And it says to take the third card from the top of the deck. So this will be for the weekend coming. And we'll take this third card down, which is the Turtle. So we'll talk about those cards later. So we've got some interesting cards, definitely starting the week in quite a powerful way with the Water Dragon. This is card 24, and it says diving into new depths. Let's see if comments are appearing. Yes, I can see comments. Hello. Hi, Brenda Lee, sorry. Brenda Lee and Mercer, I can see you guys. So, yay, finally. So this is the Water Dragon. It aligns with the water element. So when we think of the water element, you might think of things like emotions, creativity. So our emotional realm is what we're being encouraged to, and probably what we feel just inspired to dive into early on Monday. So Monday the 1st of March. So we might find a pull, a call to dive deeply into how we feel about a recent situation that's happened, or something that's going on for us, perhaps in relationships, maybe how we feel about ourselves, or how we feel about an area of our life that doesn't really sing to our heart anymore. How are we going to drop into that feeling and then do something with that energy? And there is a little bit of action coming up this week, but there's mainly a lot of support is what I'm seeing. So we might feel, some of us, that we just want to drop deeply into this energy of feeling, this deep reaction or response that we've had to a situation that's happened in recent days. And we might want to drop into that and really see how we feel, explore it perhaps in our journal, and come to a conclusion perhaps, or the beginnings of a conclusion about what we want to do from here, where we want to go, what new adventures we might want to walk on. There's lots of changes happening at the moment, so there is this sense early in the week to this encouragement to drop into how we feel and allow ourselves to dive to these new depths within ourselves, to use this that's happened as an opportunity for us to see or understand more about ourselves, what we want from our life, what we don't want from our life anymore. So there are a lot of questions that we might have as we start the week. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should I continue with this? Should I continue with that? Where should I go with this? Where should I go with that? These are all the sorts of questions that we might sort of have rolling around in our head, in our heart, as we begin the week. So what we are being encouraged to do is to dive into those questions and to don't let the question hover for too long. We might want to sit with the question for a couple of days if we're not clear, if we don't have clarity. But let's not avoid the questions, because there is this sense that things are lining up to line us up into to go into a new direction. So that's beginning the week with the Water Dragon. Okay, so let's drop down into Tuesday. We have these two cards coming up for Tuesday. We have the Cockatoo and the Koala. So I'm going to talk about the Cockatoo first. This is for Tuesday the 2nd of March, and it's card 47, and it says to be compromising. There is also a vocal quality to this card. So there is this sense here that we might feel we need to vocalize or verbalize how we're feeling, what we determine on Monday as we ask the questions and we get the clarity and we find the solutions, or we decide what we want to do, where we want to go with these things that are rolling around, these questions rolling around within us on Monday. We might get clarity on that and want to vocalize or verbalize or have a conversation about our plans or about our thoughts. There may not even be plans yet. So plans come from the thoughts and the conversations, and really sitting with those thoughts, sitting with those potentials to see what we want to do or how we want to proceed. And if there are other people involved, then of course we've got conversations to have. So there might be this sense here of being ready to vocalize what we've been thinking and sort of get the ball rolling in a new direction for ourselves. We might need to compromise in these conversations especially if there's other people involved, because, you know, other people might have different viewpoints or different thoughts on the same thing. So then both people or people involved may need to consider finding a compromise. So that feels especially important for Tuesday. So there's this sense here of speaking up on Tuesday. But and until we get the clarity, until we have the clarity of thought about what we want to do or the next step that we want to take, we might not feel that energy yet. So if you're still sitting back and you're still just not sure and you're sitting in that energy for a couple of days, then this cockatoo may not show up for you till, say, Thursday or Friday. So it really depends on how fast or how slow you explore your questions, dive deeply into this water dragon energy and your emotions and what you really want, because that clarity feels like it needs to come first. The clarity inside with feeling, the clarity of thought, and then being able to verbalize it. So it may be Tuesday, but it may be delayed a day or two if you're a little slower in making that decision. And speaking of slowness, we have the koala, card 52. This is a featured card, but it says to meditate, reflect, and ponder. So this is a pondering sort of card. So I guess it sort of brings that element of what I was talking about, how some of us may be ready to converse, ready to share our thoughts, ready to start a plan, where others of us may still be in that waiting, pondering, reflecting sort of state, which is what this koala encourages and inspires. It says to ponder, slow, quiet, grandfather, and wait. And there might be things we even come to a conclusion about, or that we've been thinking about for a couple of days, that we have a conversation about, that is not quite the right time yet to proceed. So we could have a plan, but the plan might not happen for 3 months. So that's where that waiting element may also come in, where we may be setting now some long-term plans, some long-term thoughts as to what we want to do for our future in the months to come. So there is this quiet waiting energy here with the koala. So we might find that coming forward too for some of us on Tuesday. So then we move into Wednesday, and we have the unicorn on Wednesday, card 50. Hi everybody, lovely to see you. Thanks for stopping by today. So this is for Wednesday the 3rd of March, and we have the unicorn, and it says psychic, gifts, spiritual, intuition, and trust. So this, first of all, brings a highlight to our spiritual interests. So the things that interest us on a spiritual level, whether it be going to church, being in nature, playing with your cards. There might be something coming up on Wednesday where we might feel a pull or feel inspired to get those tools out, or to practice our spiritual things that help us feel connected spiritually. So with that energy aside, this energy of the unicorns also reminding us to trust. So on Wednesday, there's this strong feeling of trust in ourselves, trusting in the decisions that we are making, and trusting in the steps that we're taking in our life. So it makes me feel that Wednesday we might start to, like, the reality might kick in about things that have happened, changes that have been made recently, and even the plans that we have for the months to come. There might be a bit of a reality check, you know, where the reality of it sort of kicks in, and then we might suddenly get fearful and wonder and question, is this really what we want to be doing? So I feel that this is probably going to be a natural sort of almost like our lower wounded self throwing up or vomiting all over our potential happiness, which seems to be the focus for at least these first few days. So if we can get over that hurdle of fear and just sort of put it aside and emerge or bring forth our ability to trust in these decisions we're making, trust in these new steps that we're wanting to take, trust that everything's going to work out okay. As we do that, I feel it's going to help build our strength again, build our confidence, and also build our ability to focus on where we're going. So don't be surprised if there's a little bit of fear or doubt or a bit of a reality check that happens on Wednesday. And we may want to, curb that as quickly as possible. Let's not allow that type of energy to stop us from doing what we know is right. So we might have this battle even that happens between our head and our heart, where our heart wants to go this way, but our head is overthinking it and rationalizing things. And it can be good to listen to our head. I think it's good to list out the pros and cons from both perspectives and then sit with it and come to a conclusion using our common sense, our experience, our wisdom that we've already achieved in our life, our life's journey, and the strength of the pull from our heart. So we may find that sort of energy playing out around midweek. Okay, then by Thursday, so Thursday the 4th of March, we have the bear, and the bear is card 43, and it says to move out of the rut. So there is a feeling here that we're not going to let fear, we're not going to let doubt, we're not going to let our overthinking, over-rationalizing head or mind stop us for too long. Because there's this feeling here on Thursday of coming out of a rut. And that actually these thoughts that we have, these feelings and these questions that we've asked and the verbalizing, the planning, and sitting in the energy, the increasing trust, I feel like this is going to give us the clarity that we've been looking for to move out of a rut in our life that we didn't realize we even had. So there is a feeling that there's something maybe that we've been living through for the last couple of years that we've been tolerating, we've been quite happy with. But there is this feeling of something pulling us out of that space now. A new motivation, maybe a new adventure, a new phase of our journey that wants to open up. So can you give yourself permission to move out of the rut and to try some new experiences and go in some new directions? They are the types of things that feel like they're going to be around on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have the crocodile. So Friday the 5th of March. And the crocodile is card 5. And it says to stand in your survival power. So again, this highlights maybe this anticipation, this apprehension, this fear, or even a slight anxiety about the prospects, again, of the reality hitting. But the crocodile reminds us that we are survivors and that we are powerful. So we are powerful survivors. We've survived before and we will survive again. So if you find yourself, especially on Friday, in survival mode, like getting into that survival energy, that survival mode in your life, you've been encouraged and reminded that you are a survivor. So keep going. It's definitely not the time to give up. And I would be surprised if that giving up energy hangs around for very long. I think it might just be sort of a fleeting energy that feels a bit up and down, back and forward, like we have clarity 1 minute and then maybe we feel scared about that reality the next. So there is this sort of toing and froing, this head and heart energy that wants to sort of push and pull at us through this week is the feeling. So let's just remember not to give up and maybe use things like our journal, writing, or conversations that we can have with people just to help keep us on track and help us stay clear and maintain the clarity that we need this week. So then on the weekend, so Saturday, the 6th of March, we have the support card. It's card 35 and it says comfort, loved ones and reassurance. This is a support card and it would only come up if we were feeling unsupported or if we needed reassurance that everything was going to be okay and that we are on track and this is going to work out. So there is again another dip potentially over the weekend where we might wonder, where we may question, and we need to keep reassuring ourselves that it is the right track, it is the right way. We know it's the right way when things are flowing in that direction. If we meet setback after setback after setback, or things that seem to stop and stop and stop as we're trying to go down a certain path, then it may be worth looking at or reinvestigating, reassessing our path and our direction. So if we're hitting setbacks and walls the whole time, then definitely let's look at that. But if we're not hitting those walls and setbacks, if things are happening easily, if things are falling into place and the timing of everything just seems to be very synchronized, then we can absolutely trust that. So there is a great feeling of support that's coming through, love from our loved ones in spirit, and coming in and supporting as we make the decision to follow the journey that calls our heart. It's like our heart is a compass, and the compass of our heart is leading us in a certain direction. And it can be difficult at times to trust that, especially if our rational mind or our wounded self comes in and wants to take over, because it will make us help contribute to us feeling scared, doubtful, anxious, and so it can talk us out of following our heart. But I think it's good to question, to really make sure that we are going in the direction that feels best for us. So support coming in. We are loved, we are supported. Keep encouraging and reassuring yourself too early over the weekend, but maybe throughout the week. This is probably not bad advice for the whole week because of that up and down head and heart sort of energy, that we may need to be there for ourselves, reassure, go gently, these types of things. Now we've got Sunday the 7th of March, and we've come to our lizard and our turtle. So let's talk about the lizard. These have come up together for a reason, so they connect somehow. We're going to talk about the lizard first. This is card 3, and it's definitely the most popular card we've had in the last 3 weeks. It says optimism, appearances, delusion, and illusion. Things may not be as they seem. And things may not be as they seem, especially on Sunday, but because this has been the actual theme card for the last 2 weeks, there is this general feeling these last couple of weeks that things may not be as they seem. We may have had big reality checks, big changes happening too, that we didn't see coming because we were quite happy just flowing around on the surface of things. So underneath there have probably been changes happening. So things have been presented and things are not necessarily what they seem to be either. So this is like a shift of perspective, a shift of reality. So there is this feeling here, a bit like the water dragon, to drop in deeper into situations so that we can understand or get more information about what's going on. So maybe we do need to ask the questions. Maybe we need to look under the bonnet of that car that we're looking at. Maybe we need to read the fine print of contracts. And it's not saying that we shouldn't proceed necessarily. It's just, again, highlighting that there's more information that we need so we can make a more informed decision. So this energy is still around quite strongly at the moment. And it comes with the turtle, and the turtle's card 45, and it says slow and steady. So this is about pacing ourselves and finding a slow, it doesn't have to be slow though, so finding it maybe a slow, but finding a steady pace that works for us. Now this may be for the day, but because it comes up with this card that's been so prominent in these last couple of weeks, I'm feeling that this is a general feel. We could almost say a theme for the week at this time, and maybe even into the week to follow, is this sense of trusting in the pace that we're moving. And as we move at this pace, let's also make sure we're aware of what's going on under the surface. If something feels a bit off or doesn't quite feel right in a situation, let's ask the questions, let's set up a meeting, let's do what we need to do to get more information so that we are better informed. So that's the feeling for Sunday, but sort of a general feeling too at the moment. So I trust that makes sense. So in general, like I said, it feels to be quite head and hearts. It feels maybe a bit up and down this week, but there is a lot of support that wants to come in. So the best support we can have, remember, the best support is for us to step up and support ourselves. So encourage, reassure, support who we are. Let's become our best supporter, especially during the highs and the lows this particular week, where we might feel inspired and excited about what's to come, and then we might feel a bit apprehensive or a bit scared with the idea on the prospect of what's to come. So we're probably going to need some support, some comfort, some self-reassurance, some gentleness as we move in and out of the ups and downs this week, potentially. So I'm going to get ready now to pull a theme card. So before I do, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to. And if you want to connect more privately, please send us a message through our website. If you would love to learn more about me and the work I do at Temple of Balance, then please visit templeofbalance.com.au. I have some new art talismans, which I don't have on right now, but I've got some new art talismans that I'm sort of slowly releasing out. So you might find a couple of new ones on the website, and I've got some more to make in the next couple of days. So there'll be some new art talismans coming, and I've also got a lot of cups and terracotta earrings and terracotta talismans and porcelain talismans that I am trying to get on the website. So it should be up hopefully today or tomorrow. So keep your eye out for some new things that are coming up soon. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let's see what the theme card for this week is. And like I say, I really pay the most attention to this particular card because it gives us an overall feeling of the week ahead in general. So what is our theme card and how are we going to tie this week together? How can we see the bigger picture for this week ahead? And the bigger picture is great with any life situation. What is the bigger picture here? So the bigger picture, the theme card for this week for the majority of us is this. It is the art. And this is not surprising. I've talked about this already a fair bit. This is the Sea Dragon, card 18. It says, be gentle with yourself. Okay, so this is highlighting the potential feeling fragile, feeling raw, feeling sensitive this week. There is this feeling that we might feel a bit battered. We might feel a bit sort of poked and prodded at. We might feel a bit sort of rough-handled, we could say. We might even take things quite personally this week. So what is really important about this card is self-care, is gentleness, being gentle with ourselves, continue to reassure ourselves, continue to find the courage that we need to face our fear and to see the fear or the problematic areas of our life from the bigger picture perspective. This is why I find writing down the journal so helpful. If I'm not sure about anything, I'll often write down the pros and cons. I'll write down how my heart feels, how my head feels about it, or what my head thinks about it. And I'll just look at it all on paper, trying to step back from the sensitivity of the topic or whatever it might be. I try and imagine stepping back and just seeing everything that it is just for the words that I've written, just to help give me another perspective. So we might get quite bogged down in the emotional side potentially this week, because this is an emotional card, it feels. But let's just keep flowing, let's keep moving like the sea dragon. The sea dragon clings onto the weeds or reeds when it needs to. The sea grasses when it needs to, when the current's a bit strong. So that might be time where we need some self-care, some gentleness, some rest if we can. And then there will be times when the current's not moving so crazily, so chaotically, and we can let go of those sea grasses and flow with the currents and move with it. So there's probably going to be a bit of a juggling of this energy this week. It's okay. So probably the best thing to suggest this week is to be gentle with yourself. Enjoy the ride. It's probably going to be like a roller coaster a bit. But it's not a bad thing, because you know that everything that's happening at the moment is pointing us into a new direction. So we can trust in the sort of chaos right now because it's leading us to where we need to be. So let's trust it. There's nothing to be afraid of. We don't need to sleep this week out. Let's work with the energy as best as we can. So our theme, the sea dragon. Be gentle with yourself. Gently, gently. So have a fantastic week. If you're celebrating a birthday or anniversary, happy birthday, happy anniversary. I look forward to connecting with you again next week for the weekly guidance. And I will likely be in through the week to share a support video too. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know when it will be, but I'm sure I'll be in at some point. So take care of yourselves. Happy new week and first week of the month, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.